So you've probably clicked on this video because you currently have a full-time job and you want to get into trading. Hi, my name's Harry. I've been trading for 3 years on a high time frame whilst working at a full-time job. And over the last 6 months to a year, I've been really profitable. I've got some really good results. Hopefully one day that I'll be, becoming full-time trader. Doing this has just gave me some skills to constantly and consistently make money in my spare time, manage my own, capital. It's been really good. So in this video, I'm going to break down how to trade with a full-time job and do it well. And the magic is you only need to find an extra 10 hours a week. So my story started on the 5-minute charts, started scalping in the mindset of, oh, you can only make money if you are, intraday trading, scalping, all that kind of stuff. I used to get home, find a market structure break on a 5-minute and enter it, and then I would just let it play out, which is rubbish. Moved up to the 4-hour charts, got some good success, trading this way, but for me it was too manageable. It was something I had to manage. It was something that was fairly difficult whilst working a job. It's doable. It's completely doable, but yeah, you want to maximize your earnings whilst you're at work. That's what you want to do. You want to really focus on that cash flow if you want to go down this route. So now for me, it's just daily and weekly charts. That's it. It's so easy to manage. And yeah, transition away from the 4-hour. I realized, because I read I'm agreeing my trades, all the mistakes I was making were on the 4-hour. Not winners and losers, but the oversized or undersized and this and that, or late entering or exiting, right? So I learned that daily and weekly is perfect whilst working a full-time job. So define your goals first. I feel like you've got to ask yourself, is this something I want to do? Like, you're not good at, you see all the things online, 95% of traders lose money. I argue 95% of traders never, got through the first 2 to 3 years to actually get good at it. And it's like most things, so it's, So you probably clicked on this video because you currently have a full-time job and you want to get into trading, but you're not too sure how you're going to do it because you don't have the time. So hopefully in this video, I'm going to break down how it's manageable. I've been trading for 3 years on the high time frames. It's completely hands-off. You don't have to be glued to the charts. All you need to find is an extra 10 hours a week. So my story, started off 5-minute charts, kind of coming home from work, trading on the 5-minute. I used to just trade a market structure break, long or short. I used to just find one, do it. It's not the worst thing to do because it gets you into the habit, right? But no systematic process, nothing behind it. Just seeing what happens, really. The 4-hour chart, it's manageable whilst working a full-time job. But, if you're kind of senior or, you want to really work on your job and maximize your time working, it's probably not the best bet unless you can take your breaks whenever you like and you can be there for the 4-hour close. And let's say you work 8-hour days, you can, do it that way. Let's say take your lunch during that close. But for most people, that's not realistic. So now it's daily and weekly charts for me. And I made that decision because, yes, I could kind of manage it, the 4-hour charts, but I was late to entering, late to exiting, and I red, amber, green my trades. All my red trades were on the 4-hour. So undersizing, oversizing, all these things are on the 4-hour. So I was like, okay, the data is telling me to go to the daily and weekly. Let's do that. So for me, okay, cool. You want to get into this, but you have a full-time job. I think ask yourself why. So you really want to define your goals, Is this something you actually want to do? You're probably there thinking, I have a couple hours each week. I can, make money, via my laptop or whatever. Should I do e-commerce? Should I start an agency? One thing that's good about trading is you make money with no clients. You don't need people involved. So you don't have to go on a call. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. And yeah, trading is good because it's building that long-term wealth. And trading teaches you not just technical analysis, not just fundamental analysis, but really about money, how it all works. If you're really into it, you'll start watching interviews of traders, you'll read books and all that stuff. So you'll get a really good knowledge. And as I said, it's a skill that pays forever. So yeah, the question is, can you find a spare 10 hours a week? So if you're currently, watching TV, scrolling, or doing nothing productive, you've probably got to ask yourself, how bad do I want this? Because That's what I did. I used to get home from work and then go to the gym and then just sit and watch the football. But now it's like I go to the gym in the morning and then when I come home, I trade. And that has really been, really good over the last, 2 to 3 years. It's just, over 3 years now. It's been massive. So just ask yourself, can you find a minimum of 10 hours a week? And if you can, over 2-3 years, this could be actually a really good skill to learn. So it's one of the oldest ways to make money. So I wanted to put this in because there's a lot of people worrying that I missed a move, the market's going to disappear, the stock market's at all-time highs, gold's going up like there's no tomorrow. At the end of the day, this is always going to be here, really. Or during your lifetime, it's probably going to be here anyway. So the probability of financial markets being here is very high. So even if things are at all-time highs, don't feel like you've missed something because it's just, a lot of people will think that and then they'll never go through that 2 to 3 year period where they learn the skills and make the money. So will AI replace discretionary traders? Probably another thing you're thinking as to, should I do this? So algos have been in trading for years. They've existed since the 80s. Manual traders have still thrived. The New Market Wizards books, unbelievable books. You definitely should check them out. All of them are discretionary traders. All of them are like me and you. They sit there, they enter, they exit by themselves. Some of them over the years, and this is about all the books, have got computerized strategies, but most of them are doing it themselves. So will AI replace traders? Yes, obviously you can't rule that out, but algos have been in the markets for coming up to 50 years, and traders are still here making money doing it themselves. So the fear of being replaced applies to every skill, as I mentioned. People said the same about all this stuff, but at the end of the day, skills are skills. They stay there, and they've been there for ages. So yeah, skills change, skills evolve, markets evolve, but if you're going to get good at trading, you've got to evolve. Like the way I traded, as I said earlier, 3 years ago, completely different to the way I trade now. Same 2 years ago, same 1 year ago, right? You keep refining that process and you keep developing that skill, you'll absolutely be fine. So time frame strategy. So daily and weekly works for busy people. The 5 minute, avoid it. The 1 minute, avoid it. I think anything under 4 hours is tough. You could make an argument for stocks. 1 hour is good because of their trading sessions, but still, it's still difficult, I would argue, because if you're in America, you might be at work during trading hours and you don't want to be entering and exiting. So I think the daily and weekly is good. You could wait, maybe you've got the 1 hour chart on a stock and you wait until the daily close, then you enter when the market's closed. You could do that, but the daily and weekly is what I would be looking to stick to. So for me, okay, cool. You're going to be, yes, I want to do trading. I'm going to do it in the evenings. I've got an extra 10 hours a week. For me, you want to diversify across asset classes. You hear about the thing, diversification, it's the way to go. I like to frame it as diversification in opportunity. So you've got equities, you've got Forex, commodities, crypto, bonds, ETFs, all this stuff you want to you kind of put together, and you kind of want to find a way of doing it. I like Bitcoin, the Nasdaq, and gold. I think they're quite good to go together. You had Bitcoin moved a lot when Trump got elected. The Nasdaq moves at different times. You could argue, right now, midway through 2026 as of recording, and you had gold through 2025. So if you can just, find different assets that you can watch on the daily and weekly, you can start to build like a really, really nice framework. So as I said, your job is your ultimate advantage. Consistent income. If you can save an extra, let's say $200 a month, and I know it's difficult, and it's not going to happen consistently every month. But if you can commit to something like that, you can maybe do half of it in long-term investments, so half of it in, ETFs, gold, whatever that you buy and you don't touch. Then you could do the other half into that trading capital. And as you get better at trading, you can rebalance. So I'm at the stage now where I'm like a 50-50 guy, but now it's like, should I balance more towards trading than investing, because I now back myself in that skill a lot more. So you want to start off with that. You want to do long-term investing, yes, but if you want to do trading, put some in your capital. You want to be topping that up, and then as time goes on, you get more confident and you have the results and the data to prove it. balance the scales up more in that trading favour. But yeah, as I mentioned, when you have a job, there's no rush to make money. You can get really good at the skill. The risk to reward on building that skill, there's no pressure really. So definitely, if you're working a job and you think I'm never going to make it as a trader, it's actually, you got to frame it a different way, because it's actually probably the best thing that could happen. So 10 hours a week. So as I mentioned, if you can find 10 hours a week, great. So 1 hour per day, Monday to Friday is a way you could do it. Then you could do Saturday, and you could also do Sunday. That's like a structure which could work for some. You could do 2 hours, kind of Monday to Thursday, and then you can just over the weekends and Friday and stuff, you can split it up. Just got to commit to 10 hours. You've got to write down your goals, what do you want to get out of the week, and then just do it. And over the period of time, you'll do great. It's almost like a gym split, or you want to build muscle, you want to go to the gym. It's like, all right, okay, cool. How am I going to go about doing that? You find a split. For me at the minute, it's upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, then the weekends I have off. I think that's just a really good way of fitting around my life, because I've done before, push-pull legs, rest, push-pull legs, and it's almost like a burden. And now I'm at the stage of my life where I want things to, I want productive, time to almost fit around my life, to be like a bolt-on. And I think this 10-hour week structure is really good. So if you can, for the first month or so, just find a structure which works for you, that you can consistently do. After work, you could do before work to do that more deeper work. And then you have the time as well where you check the charts and so on. It's really good. But you don't want to, you don't want to be, wasting that added time. Like as I mentioned, put at the bottom, most people spend that time watching TV. I think most people, 95% of people, unless you're running, I don't know, SpaceX like Elon Musk, you can find a spare 10 hours a week to do this. And you can still do what you want to do and still enjoy life. So look, skills and compound, the skills and your capital compound together. So as you can see here, over that 10-hour weeks, it's going to just compound and compound. Year one, I think you're not going to make any money. Year two, probably the same. Year three, it's like, wow, here we go. This is actually coming together. You've got to be able to stick with it. And that's why I think doing it on the side of a job whilst you've got 10 hours a week is perfect. There's no way of you, kind of losing anything. The only thing you're really wasting is time. Yes, you could be unprofitable, but if you're managing risk and you're doing that correctly, you're going to be absolutely fine. So those skills should compound, and also you should build your nest egg, and your capital should go up as well. So by the time let's say for example, you have 10 grand year one. Let's say you don't make any money until year three. But because you've been working hard, you've been putting money in, you might have, let's say, 20 grand in your, this is just your trading capital. Now you're a better trader with 20 grand. So it's like, you don't have to worry about making money from day one, because if you keep topping it up with a full-time job, you're now going to be better off and in a better position. So that's something definitely to consider, and hopefully puts your mind at peace. So yeah, maximise your income, maximise your job income. You want a salary, then trading income, then you want that obviously to scale. The scales to tip. Only the rest of what you can afford. Like, okay, cool, I can't afford to put in $100 a month. Okay, cool, 50. Whatever it may be. The higher time frames, the expected value of trades is typically better, so there's usually fewer mistakes to make. Patience, you do need patience on the high time frame, but because you're usually doing other things, your minds are always on the market. As I mentioned, risk management above all. If you just stay alive and stay in the game for a couple of years in trading, you're going to beat those 95% of people who lose. But we know they're not actually traders, they're not actually taking it seriously, and they've never gone through this kind of process of what I mentioned. And yeah, review and journal everything. You want to have a daily process. So in that kind of a week plan of 10 hours, just have a daily process. Okay, cool. Every day I'm going to check these charts, these tickers at this time. And that consistency will just really compound. It's like any skill or anything in life. So what you need to do, find 10 hours a week. You need to go on a demo account or back test and start building stuff, learning. I've got some videos that hopefully can help you with that process. Pick a couple markets to follow, and then as you get more along, you can start to take more things, but you don't want to overcomplicate it too much. Only one strategy. So I would say for most traders, 2 to 3 things is what you want to be really good at, you know. And then as you get older in your trading kind of life, you can start to break those rules a bit. But at the start, that's what you want to do. Journal from day one and be patient, because it takes 2 years before judging results and getting good. So yeah, hopefully this video has made you think, oh, I can trade with a full-time job. It's actually probably in a better situation than that person who's got no money and wants to be a trader and is going to lose it all on funded accounts. My content isn't really related to funded accounts. It's more geared towards people who are working, who do have money already. So hopefully this action plan is useful and you can actually go on and do it. And hopefully in 2-3 years' time, we'll be sipping pina coladas together. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.